Hey TBI and Buddy Fight fans, it's Joan here from Team Bring Infinity, bring you guys a Demon Lord deck profile post Shine Super Sun Dragon. Super Sun Dragon didn't give really a lot of Demon Lord specific support, but it did give a lot of much needed dungeon support that I've been waiting for, like an actual Dragon Barrier and good spells. Um, like Shalsana reprints for all the people that kept wanting to get back into Dungeon World, but they'd have to scour all the way back to original set 3 and the original trial deck just to get their nulls. I'm still waiting on that Pillar of Fire and Rolling Stone reprint though. Um, Regardless, so sorry for the hiatus. Especially for all you newcomers. I've noticed. Obviously, I try to monitor the channel as much as possible. Thank you for all the new for all you new subs here. If you're new here, obviously I said my name is Jalen from Team Infinity. And the whole thing is, this is my main deck. If you don't usually see this deck on YouTube, that's understandable because no one really likes this deck. Just me. And I am completely fine with that. People are just fine with Dungeon Mix, Knights, because they get all the show promotion. I don't give a shit. What I give a shit about is the fact that people will immediately write off this deck as bad because no one really uses it. It's because no one wants to really use it because there's already a way more popular, more used deck in Dungeon World. Doesn't mean the rest of Dungeon World is not as good as it. Anyway, I love Demon Lords, and I kinda like the new direction they kind of went with this new Miseria. Not gonna lie, I'm not really a fan of it, but I made a second Demon Lord deck. I mean, this isn't a second Miseria flag. I'm just doing this for the video. I have a promo one, but I'd rather just show this for the video's sake. And I don't know. Like, the new Miseria is like meh at best. I don't really like it. I don't really hate it. But I made a whole second deck for it. So let's see how that goes. Anyway, we got the flag being, of course, the Miseria flag. It's Dungeon World, yay. Then we have our buddy Heatblade Joker. It's a 3/1/1 size 0 with the ability to put itself into the soul of a size 2 or greater Demon Lord with no soul in the field, and if it's in the soul of a Demon Lord, then it gives it Soul Guard. So it's really, really nice to give the new Miseria a actual form of defense, so you don't get screwed over if you don't win the turn that you brought it out, which is the main focus of this deck. Because other decks just focus on getting it out and saying, I'm going to kill you, but what if you don't? Because people can, draw nulls. Or certain decks can counter-destroy even a size 3, like Tyrants, Shadow Shade, Fifth Omni, like, it's kind of possible. Anyway, then getting on to the size zeros, we have 4 copies of Ada Waterlord, Steinblade Joker. Steinblade Joker is a 3/1/3 size 0. You can only call him if you have a Demon Lord monster in the field, and when he attacks the center monster, he instantly destroys it. So it's really nice to break down the centers. Even though the new Miseria does have Penetrate, it really can help with dealing with walls with multiple soul or something like that. So that way you can attack with this, get rid of the soul, and then say Miseria can now go in, get the Penetrate, and if it has lifelink, they also take lifelink, and then restand for more shenanigans. So it's just a really helpful size 0 and kind of really the best one to really run for a Demon Lord focus size 3 deck, which this is. Then we have 4 copies of the Buddy. Not going to get into explanation there. Kind of already talked about them. Then we have 2 copies of Judgment of the Cold-Blooded King Miseria. One, I love the Buddy Rare text. If you guys don't know it, let me just read it out for you. Break 4, freezing water that courses through me. Yas pressure. And then, if you just want to know the double rare text, I am Miseria, the one that will judge the universe, the cold-blooded king. Anyway, 20,000 power, 5 critical, 20,000 defense. Really high stats, but here's a problem with him. He can only enter the field through the effect of the extreme spell Apocalypse Day. So you have to get the set spell, which I'll get to later, to no soul, just to even bring him out. And you can only call him from the hand or deck, so if he's in your drop zone or gauge, this is why this deck kind of helps with that problem. And the reason why he's at 2 is because he can be a dead draw. Now, if you want to run more copies after seeing this deck, I'm cool with that. But if you realize after playing with this deck a ton like I do, this deck cannot handle the amount of dead draws. Because the moment you give your opponent free turns to set up on you, you're not going to be able to bounce back that well compared to other decks. So you really need to minimize the amount of dead draws so you can actually get your plays going, keep yourself like in the flow of the game, and then you can bring this out to start just protect it, and then just your opponent's not gonna be able to deal with it. Anyway, it has the ability to it has penetrate, lifelink 10, and it has the ability to counteract during your turn. You can put a set spell from your field to the drop zone and pay 2 gauge in order to restand him, and the ability can only use once per turn. So basically, exactly 10 damage. If your opponent doesn't have nulls, which is kind of possible they can have nulls. It's not the most effective strategy to get the game, but it's still pretty fun, pretty cool, pretty strong. Then we have 3 copies of the Impact Monster, David Cruzar's Second Manifestation Demon Knight, 935, size 3, with the call cost of paying 3 gauge and put it on top of a Demon Lord. It has Soul Guard, and when it enters the field, put its Demon Lord, call a Demon Lord from your hand onto the field at a size 0 without paying its call cost, and it stays at size 0 until it leaves the field, not when this leaves the field. So even if this dies, that's going to be a 0 until they decide to kill it. One thing I really love about this card is that it doesn't have lifelink, unlike your other 3s. So once it leaves the field, you're not in any kind of danger of getting killed, unless, of course, penetrate or some kind of effect damage they can do, like Spectral Strike or something. But this is a really, really nice card. I really love it. It's only not at 3 because it can't call this guy because it's not a call cost, it's a call condition, which is completely different. So, yeah. Then we have 4 copies of original David Cruzar, Guardian Dragon of Demon Lord Castle, size 3, 837, pay 2 gauge, put the top card of your deck into the soul. It has Soul Guard, Lifelink 2, and when it enters the field, you can add Destruction or Demon Lord, so it can basically add a ton of your spells, your entire monster lineup. It's just really, really nice, really great glue for a Demon Lord deck. You just always run this at 4 if you can. If you can't find it, I don't blame you. It's an old Golden Buddy Pack card. Bushiroad, please reprint it. One, so I can stop looking at Golden Buddy Pack, because I hate this pack so much. And 2, I would love to see some alternate art of my boy David Cruzar. But it's just a really nice card, really nice defenses, just nice 3 crit. It's just a really good card, even to this day. We have 4 copies of Hazard Dragon Emperor Gomer. Gomer is 826 size 3 dual dragon, because, dual world. He's got double attack, Soul Guard, Lifelink 2, and the ability to discard a card, gain a critical, and destroy your opponent's left or right. It's just so good. You can push for damage with it, destroy sides, like when you're going against offensive decks. Like, it's just so strong. So strong. You don't need to run random cards that are like, oh, if it gets discarded, like that random Demon Lord from the Zwei Trial deck. Don't run that just because Gomer exists. This is bad reasoning to play a card just because one other card exists, unless it's very mandated, like the spells needed to call out the Mazaria in this deck. Anyway, onto the spells. Speaking of which, we have Mission Complete, Extreme Spell, Apocalypse Day. You can only cast it if Mission Card of Judgment on Great Spell Apocalypse is got no soul, and then you can cast it, and when you do, you get out the big guy, you get out him, and yeah, that's it. Hand or deck. Can't get him from Drop Zone or obviously Gauge, so it's a little limited, but it's really worth. It's a Demon Lord spell, so if it does end up in your drop zone, David Cruzar can add it back. Woohoo! Onto the rest of the spells, we have 2 copies of Blessing of Nereus. It's a really nice tech I like in this deck. It's you put it in the soul of a dungeon enemy, and then you give it 3,000 power. It doesn't give Soul Guard because that's what Heatblade does. So the fun thing to do is Heatblade into the soul of Mazaria. So once you call the Mazaria from extreme spell, you can buddy call, put it in soul. Now that it has Soul Guard, you can cast Nereus, put it in soul, and then of course the smart way to do this isn't One, it has 23,000 power, which is just funny. Second thing is, say it's about to get destroyed. You don't remove the Heat Blade. Please never do, because then you lose the Soul Guard. The smart thing to do is to remove the Nereus, because 1 to 3,000 power is irrelevant. And then 2, you keep Soul Guard. So don't get rid of this until it's literally absolutely necessary. Anyway, Nereus is just good for giving extra protection to literally any of your size 3s, and at the same time make him a little more beat sticks. I mean, Miseria doesn't need it, but the other guys could use it. They can hit 10k after that, so it can hit Ozzy, Dahaka, things like that. Just it's got its uses even for its random ability. We have, and then for the last 2 of the spell, we have Demon Lord's Dungeon. It's a set spell all the way back from set 3, so some of you might not know about this. This is a set spell, Demon Lord set spell that can only be casted or set if you have a Demon Lord on your field, which is kind of nearly impossible not to have because your entire deck is full of Demon Lords. And you always have them on field, so I don't know how you wouldn't get this off. Regardless, this card, at the beginning of your turn, you can call a size 1 or less dungeon enemy from your drop zone by paying its call cost. I only have size 0s to call in this deck, and none of them have call costs, so it's basically, at the beginning of your turn, get free monsters. So, I really like this card. It's a set spell, obviously, so then, it works with Miseria's ability, so it's just a really, really nice card for the deck. Utility and, well, just really good utility. Then we have 4 copies of, Mission Card of Judgment, Great Spell Apocalypse. It's, a Demon Lord, so, like I say, you can add back with Deo Cruzar if need be. Cast cost is put the top 3 cards of your deck into its soul. It cannot be destroyed by opponent's cards. It has the ability every time a monster is destroyed, period, either side of the field, your opponent, you, regardless, if a monster is destroyed. Now, keep in mind, if you destroy something with transform and it's already transformed, that's an item, so that does not count. Anyway, when a monster is destroyed, remove soul from it, and when it reaches 0 soul, you draw a card. So basically, once you get to that 0 soul, you get a draw, and when it's your turn, you can finally cast the mission complete, so you can call Miseria. And then since you can just use it for the ability, since it's useless now that has 0 soul, you can just get rid of it for the Miseria ability, pay 2 gauge, and start going for more face. It's a really, really nice card. When you get the setup. We have 4 Divine Protection of Shalsana. Your basic nullifier, cast cost is pay 1 gauge, and you can only cast it during your opponent's attack on your opponent's turn. Nullify the attack, gain a life. Basically a better green shield because you can use it on the close center, and it's just 1 gauge, which is really easy to get back in this deck. With a card I'll go into later. We have then 4 copies of Hidden Crossbow. Hidden Crossbow is just Destruction, Trap. So if you're running a trap deck, this is kind of your key card, best card. Next to Lone Remote, obviously. But enough about traps. This is really great with Deo Cruzar, because Deo Cruzar can add it back from the drop zone, which is really, really nice. Anyway, it counter destroys a monster with 3,000 or less defense. So lots of offensive decks usually have monsters with really low defense. So it really helps against offensive decks. Even random cards like Dual Seeker Revolted has 3,000 defense. So if you kind of want to just get rid of Soul, or if it's on its last legs, you can just crossbow. It's a really, really great card for dungeon enemies, and all of dungeon, really, just really nice. We have 4 copies of Obstinacy Drink Bunny Call. Weird name. I don't know how Enamin Gold, another energy drink based one, has a cousin drink that sounds like this. I don't know what this is. Pay 1 gauge. Counter when a card in your field. Choose a card in your field. For this turn, next time that card will be destroyed by your opponent's card or returned to your hand, that card remains on field instead. It's just basically a dragon barrier. It doesn't protect against weird removal like putting a card, but it stops destruction and returning the hand, which is usually the only 2 forms. So obviously you can't abuse it with Miseria's ability because he does put the set spell, so you can't just cast it on the set spell, then try to use Miseria to keep it there, and then still just restand. You can't do that. But it's still really nice. It protects Miseria, it protects any of your 3s, it protects your Demon Lord's Dungeon if you want to keep calling your 0s and your opponent trying to destroy it. Just a really, really nice card for the deck. And then the last of the basics, the spells in this deck that are built to save your Missaria. We have 4 copies of Dragon Blessing. You can only cast it during your opponent's turn. Pay 1 gauge, cast cost. And has counter nullify all lifelink of the monsters on your field. So Missaria can have no more lifelink 10. The David Cruiser and Gato Gomer have no lifelink 2, so really, really great already. And then you can choose to return as many monsters from your field into your hand. So you can return the Missaria back to your hand, then cast another great spell in order to call it back from your hand. So that way you take no lifelink when it's about to die, and then you can recall it back for free, basically, and just go back in for damage. So it's just really nice. It also, of course, can return your other 3s, like Dale Cruzar Impact Monster, so you can just return him, and then the next turn you can just, on your turn, you can just call him back during the final phase and just start going in again. Just really nice card for the deck. Then for your gauge gain, in the last card of the deck, we have 4 copies of Magical Eyes Release. Now, Reset Button also works, but I think this still works better because, one, it also does other things that Reset Button doesn't do. If you know what Reset Button does, it's just basically a Gagnar spell. It just resets your entire gauge, puts all the cards in your gauge into your deck, shuffle your deck, and then Sorry, I was getting a phone call. I'll get back to that in a second as soon as this video's over. The thing is, anyway, on to Magical Eyes Release. Magical Eyes Release, you may only cast it if you have a Demon Lord in your field. Once again, like Demon's Dungeon, it's really easy to get that. And it has the cast ability when you can put the top 3 cards of your deck into the gauge, and then you put one of your opponent's gauge into the drop zone. So basically, it's like a Dragonic Charge that actually does something to your opponent. And since it's a Demon Lord, you can use regular Deo Cruzar, let me just grab him, to grab it back. So basically, if you have a Demon Lord already in your field, cast it, gain 2 gauge, put one of their gauge to the drop zone, pay 2 gauge that you just gained, and then add this back to your hand with Deo Cruzar's ability, and then do it again. And basically, you got a free Deo Cruzar and got rid of 2 of your opponent's gauge, and you still keep all your gauge. It's a really nice play. I like to do with it sometimes. Anyway, hope you guys like this video. Subscribe to Team Ring Fit for more Buddy Fight content, like match videos, more deck profiles will be coming in the new year. Probably not anytime in 2016 anymore. But anyway, please, when you subscribe, hit that bell so you can never be unsubscribed by YouTube's annoying algorithm. And I'll see you guys later. Jim from Team Ring Infinity going out.